Hey guys, welcome back to Momma Monday. I'm coming back here with you this Monday. I'm finally getting back on track. If you know me, you know my life is hectic. We have 4 kids and I will come at you every day with my messy mama hair for my Messy Momma Monday. I haven't got to go on my run yet today, so I'm doing this before I go run and then I'll go for my run, which I can't wait for. I've been really enjoying going for those runs, and it's just 8 to 10 minutes, but it's 8 to 10 minutes of me time, and I don't have to think about anything else, just running. So that's really nice. Today I'm going to talk about kind of a touchy subject. It's about parenting, and I just want to foreclose that I do not have it figured out. I got 4 kids and I still make mistakes. So don't take this video as me telling you that I know everything about parenting, because I definitely don't, and I'm still figuring it out as I go. But me and my husband had a disagreement this weekend about parenting and what it looks like. And he said something that kind of was, he said, I don't know how to handle that. Like when kids make certain actions, like how do you follow through with a discipline that is correct for them? That's what he was meaning. And I struggle with that too. I try to do my best. And so we talked about things that we could do in the instance. And the instance was our boys were hitting each other and he didn't know what to do. So he told them to go to bed. So we talked about how bed is not a good discipline, because going to bed should not be a punishment. Going to bed is something you have to do every day. It shouldn't be a punishment for you. But he didn't know how to handle it, and that's fine. If you don't know how to handle it, you can always ask someone for advice on what you would do, and everyone's going to give you a different thing, like a different viewpoint, or this is what I do and this works, this is what I do and this works. No kid is the same. Not even my 4 children. I have to discipline each of them differently. Certain disciplines work for some that do not work for the other kid. Like my oldest, that's 10, taking stuff away or time out works for her. My second child, that's 8, and a boy, no, that doesn't work for him. He doesn't care at all. But I want to talk about, so we hear all the time, spare the rod, spare the child. If you grew up Christian, then you know that. Even if you didn't grow up Christian, you probably know it. It's what people say all the time, spare the rod, spare the child. But I wanted to actually look at that and debunk some myths about it. So the verse comes from Proverbs 13:24. And it says, whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. It says discipline. It doesn't, in other translations, it does say spare the rod, spare the child, but we leave it at that and we don't go to where it says careful to discipline them. So when we think of spare the rod, spare the child, we always think, oh, well, our kids need to get their butt whooped for this and their butt whooped for that and their butt whooped for that. And I agree. I have done those punishments to my children. Especially lying is one of them. If they lie to us, they're automatically going to get their butt whooped. I know that's not a popular thing. A lot of people don't want to whip their children, but in some instances, yes, it is going to be needed. But us as parents, when we hear spare the rod, spare the child, all we think about is, oh, we have to whoop our children. But that's not true. That's not what God said we had to do. He said we must discipline them. And discipline can come in multiple different ways. You can do the timeout. And timeout is where you go by age. So my 3-year-old, if he gets in trouble and needs a timeout, he will have to sit quietly in a secluded spot for 3 minutes. It's 1 minute per age. You can take things away. If they start doing things If they're not paying attention to you and you're telling them to do something and they're just playing that toy, remove that toy from the situation and they can earn it back later that day. And if it keeps going, you have to keep taking, we keep taking toys away. You don't have to. This is not something that you have to do. That's just something I have done. You can, if they're older, obviously you can ground them. And taking away phones if they have phones. None of our kids have phones. Losing screen time. Maybe if they usually get some candy that day and they acted up during the time they're supposed to get candy, maybe they don't get it then. They can earn it back later, but they don't get it at that time. There's just a whole bunch of different things you can do with your children. You can have them do multiples of things. We even used and have used it before. If our kids lie to us, then they have to give us 5 push-ups. And then we started doing it by age. And the girls really don't like that. So that might work for girls. My boys are kind of just like, oh, great, working out. I love this. So that doesn't really work for them. But you just have to find what works for your family. Different punishments work for different kids. It works for different families. It works for different environments. I don't particularly like kids getting whoopings. I never have, but I do on occasion do it, especially when it is very much needed and you can tell that it's needed. Sometimes your kid may be acting out because they cannot regulate themselves and you need to just sit them in a timeout so they can come to their senses and breathe and know what they're feeling, and then you go back and talk with them, and that helps a lot. But the disagreement that we had, we ended up talking through about different punishments for different actions, and I had to let him know that I don't know the ins and outs of parenting. I don't know the right way to do punishment sometimes, and he's told me before that I need to do more punishments, and he's right, I do. Since I'm the stay-at-home parent, I don't do as many consequences to actions. I just continue to verbally tell them not to do things. I don't take things away. I don't do timeout. I don't do anything. I just get at my wit's end and I lose control of my voice, and they don't listen to that. I'm the stay-at-home parent. They don't listen to me as much as they will my husband, so I've taken advantage of that, and I will just wait till he gets home and say, well, they did this, this, and this, and then he takes the control of it. So that makes him the bad guy every time. So he has told me that I need to take more control, and I do. I got more relaxed in the last 3 years or so, because for the first 6 years, maybe 7, my husband traveled all the time, and so he wasn't home a lot. So I was the stay-at-home parent, and I was also the punisher. So since he's been able to be home every night for the last 3 years, I've taken advantage of that, and I've gotten really relaxed in the way that I parent our children, especially our youngest one, and it's coming back to bite me in the butt because he's a terror. And he thinks he can do whatever he wants. So, but since the other 3 kids are in school, I'm trying to take that time to show him that it's just me and him. He can't do whatever he wants. He's going to be the only one that gets in trouble here because he's the one doing the actions, and I can see that. So I'm trying to get him to understand that. But I get so stressed out and just at my wit's end with our 4 kids, and it's nothing new to me. I've been parenting for the last 10 years, but it doesn't really get easier because every kid is different, every punishment is different, and it's really hard sometimes, and I lose I get hot-headed sometimes, and so I just kind of yell at them. But then I feel bad because I yelled at my kids, and it's just a whole ordeal, and I get super stressed out. But I get really encouraged because every time we go out in public to eat, or in a store, or at church, wherever me, my husband, and our 4 kids are, even me and the 4 kids, every time someone tells me, your kids are so well behaved. And that's like the reassurance from God telling me, you're doing a good job. You may be at your wits' end at home, but in public, they are model children. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful that my children can usually behave in public. And it shows because people tell me that all the time. So I encourage you to talk with your spouse. Figure out what actions need what consequences, and write it down. Me and my husband, we wrote down a list of, I should have brought it over here, but we wrote down a list of, I might have it, of consequences that go with your actions that you chose to do. So yeah, I do have it. So like we said, unkind words. You need to apologize to your sibling or the parent, especially because they do this, the parents too. And then you get a timeout. You probably get the timeout first and then apologize so your apology is more heartfelt and it's not just a sorry and then walk away. Like that does nothing. Temper tantrums and arguing, those I really like to do a timeout on, because in that time, temper tantrum are usually them stressed, tired, hungry, something, and they're not able to communicate that with you. So if you give them that time out where they can sit alone for a few minutes and collect their thoughts, then you can come back and have that rational discussion with the child. Eating dinner. If they will not, this has always been a rule in my house, if they will not eat their dinner that I put out, nothing on their plate, they haven't touched a single thing, they just sit there, then I set the dinner in the microwave. And if they get hungry later, that's what they get to eat. I will warm it up and they will get to eat what they didn't touch. Now my 3-year-old, he is the only picky kid in my house. All the rest of them eat fruits and veggies. He will eat fruits, but he's really picky on pretty much anything. He likes hot dogs, corn dogs, and mac and cheese. That's like his go-to foods. So I try to incorporate something he will eat in every dinner. And then I try to put little portions of other foods on his plate. And if he's tried those other foods, but he didn't clean his plate and he wants something else, then I will get him something else because he tried them. I'm not gonna make him eat it if he didn't actually like it, but he actually tried it. If you didn't touch it at all, no, we're gonna put it back in the microwave and we'll come back to it later. The dishes, the kids, my oldest 2 have to unload and load the dishwasher, and my 3rd child, she's 5, she's helping them now. I just don't like her doing a whole lot because a lot of our dishes are breakable and she's gonna break one for sure. But she helps them some with the kid dishes because they're all plastic. She'll help them put those on the counter. If they don't do the dishes, then they get privileges taken away. Our kids have a Nintendo Switch. If they don't do the dishes, they don't get Nintendo Switch time until those dishes are done. They don't get Lego building time till the dishes are done. They don't get to do any extracurricular activity that they want to do at the house until they do that chore that I've asked them to do. And I go behind them and I check. If they just threw a few things in the dishwasher and left some more in the sink, I call them back and they gotta redo this because you have to put everything that was in the sink in the dishwasher. The laundry. So every kid in my house has done their laundry since age 3, 2 or 3. I would wash it and dry it, and they would help me get it out of the dryer at the 2 and 3, and then they would fold and put away their clothes. They would put the hangers on it, and I would hang them up because they couldn't reach. But my 10, 8, and 5-year-old, for sure, they put their clothes in the washer. They just transfer them to the dryer. They get them out. They fold and hang them up. If they can't reach something, yes, I help them. But if they don't do those things, Then again, they don't get their switches. They don't get to participate in movie night, especially if they just threw their laundry in their closet and tried to cover it up. No, we come back and we do this, and you don't get to do these extracurriculars till this is done right. And even if they get it done, but it's like 8 o'clock at night, no, you've missed movie night. Movie night's not happening now. We will come back and circle back till tomorrow if we can do tomorrow correctly. We do not do hitting. Hitting is not okay, and you will probably get an early bedtime for that. And no lying. You will write an apology letter, and you get a spanking for lying. Sometimes we can do the push-ups for that, but the lying one just really gets me, and I struggle with that one all the time. But that's just some things that we do, and we wrote it down and had the consequences. And our kids, we're going to put that probably in the pantry where the kids can see it all the time, or in their bathroom, so that they know if you do these things, this is what happens every time. But I encourage you to talk with your spouse, write it down, figure out what works for both of you. Most time, parents do not have the same parenting style. Me and my husband did not. We have spent the last 11 years of marriage trying to be on the same pace, and we're still off most of the time. So you just kind of have to come together and figure out what works best for you as a couple, and you as if you're a stay-at-home parent or the working parent. But I encourage you to find those ways, and I want to continue to find those ways because I do not have it all figured out, and not even in the slightest. And it will always be a journey, and it will always be ever changing because kids grow up, their ages change, the things they do change, and so consequences are constantly changing for kids as they grow. Don't get discouraged, don't get stressed out. I'm on this journey with you, and I'm also trying to figure out what works best for my kids and my family. So if you need some encouragement or someone to talk to, definitely reach out, put in the comments. I will be praying for all of you in your parenting journey. It is not easy by any means, but God made you the mother and father of your children for a reason. So hope you guys have a good week.